Bonjour à tout le monde, merci d'être venu. Nous sommes très heureux d'accueillir aujourd'hui Eduardo Orendain, l'héritier et donc un membre de la famille Orendain qui est venu nous présenter toute sa gamme des tequilas. Il est venu exprès du Mexique pour être avec nous aujourd'hui et nous allons l'écouter parler sur la tequila et le développement durable à partir justement de son expérience familiale. Donc remarquez que voilà, la tequila Orendain, c'est une des tequilas historiques et des prestiges que nous avons la chance d'avoir en France et en Europe plus largement. Et donc on va écouter donc Eduardo. Et si vous avez des questions, vers la fin, on va laisser quelques minutes pour échanger. Donc, Eduardo, te cedo la palabra. I let you the floor.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
No, thank you, gracias, Domingo. Sorry, guys, I don't speak French. I will do it in English. I'm working on my French, but not there yet. As Domingo was saying, my name is Eduardo, and my family produces Arette Tequila. Can we go next? And I'm fifth generation in my family. The company was started by my great-great-grandfather in 1900. In our distillery, an old distillery, it's called El Llano. It started in 1900, and our distillery is in the town of Tequila, in Jalisco. So that's where I live. And so I grew up in the distillery. Every time, all my summers, it was spending working at the distillery. My punishment was going out to the fields to do the harvest. When I was getting drunk, and my father's like, next day you have to go to the fields to do the harvest. That's the punishment. Yeah. So and every time I started working first in the production in the distillery, and now my father's more involved in the production in the distillery. My uncle, his brother, in the fields. And my job now is to kind of like an ambassador. I go different markets and to work with the distributors, to the events. And it's nice now to see here in France to have this event specialized in agave spirits. Because I think there's a lot that has need to be done. Because obviously everybody knows tequila and a little bit of mezcal, but there's still so much that needs to be done in Europe in general and also here. So it's also really great to see this kind of events happening. And thank you guys for joining to us to learn more about it today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about mostly tequila, but also a little bit about mezcal, just to put it in comparison, so you can a little bit understand the differences. So as you know, tequila and mezcal both come from Mexico, but they are both made they have a couple differences. One of them is the denomination of origin, so where tequila is made. Mexico has 32 states, but you can only make tequila in 5, whereas mezcal is made in 9 states. Now, out of those 9 states, there's 3 that combine, like Guanajuato, Michoacán, and Tamaulipas. But even in the state, it is divided. So there is no one single place or distillery that can produce both spirits. So you either make mezcal or tequila. You cannot make both. So that's kind of the first difference between tequila and mezcal, where it's made. Can we go to the next one? And then also, obviously, the agave. That is, it's very well. Now going into the tequila region, this is a map from Jalisco. So this is the city of Guadalajara. There's 2 major regions where tequila is produced. So, as I said, tequila is made in 5 states, but 95% of tequila is made in Jalisco, comes from Jalisco. And then you get to Jalisco, and also like 90% of the tequila is made in mostly 2 regions. What is called the heartlands, the valley, tequila, and then you have the highlands, Atotonilco, Arandas, where the elevation in tequila, it's 1,200 meters. In the highlands, average around 2,000 meters. So they're both a little bit high up. Sometimes tequila or the valley is referred to as lowlands, but I mean, it's not really lowlands. It's just that it's lower than the highlands. So these are kind of the 2 main regions for tequila. Now, I want to show this map, this slide here, because when we talk about tequila and mezcal, all tequilas are mezcal, It's just mezcal that kind of evolved, and now it's just called into a tequila. But they both come from agave, So and there's multiple spirits that are made from the agave, not just the tequila and the mezcal, but you also have the raicilla, the bacanora, the tuxa, and they're all just made from different agave types and in different regions, but but it is all mezcal. Also, you can say all tequila is mezcal, but not all mezcal is tequila. No? And this is something I mentioned in the next one. So it's kind of this, this category, where it is all mezcal. No? And in the mezcal, you come tequila, you have the mezcals, you have the raicillas, the bacanoras, and it's just going to depend on which type of agave you use and which region you produce. No? For tequila, it's only one type of agave that is permitted, which is the blue Weber agave. For mezcal, many different agaves. Most common one would be the espadín. This is a picture comparing both. Over here we have the blue Weber, and over here we have the espadín. If you see, they are quite similar. If you see them separately, sometimes you can even confuse them very easily. No? You have to really see them side by side to kind of be able to see how the espadín is a little bit more thinner pencas, a little bit more green versus the little bit more blue on the agave. But they're quite very similar, no? But for tequila, we can only use the blue agave. No? And for the mezcal, well, this is just some examples of many different agaves. No? They tend to look a little bit more different than the blue agave. No? Now, mezcal, agave, sometimes people confuse the plant and relate it to the cactus. No? They think agave is a cactus, but it's not a cactus. No? It's actually from the lily family, and an agave can be more related to a palm tree, to a pineapple, to asparagus, than it can be related to a cactus. No? Just because it lives kind of like in a deserty climate and it doesn't need water, people associate it with cactus, but it is not correct to associate it with cactus. And this is a picture of our agave fields in Tequila. Here in the back we have the volcano. So Tequila town, the valley, was settled next to underneath the volcano. So in Tequila we have a very good source of water, volcanic springs, spring water on the ground. So that's why if you come and visit Tequila, you'll see that all the distilleries are very close together. You'll have Cuervo, Sausa, Arette, Orendain, many distilleries, Fortaleza, one after another, next door. No? But if you go up to the highlands, it's not the same case. No? They're all kind of spread apart. And from one distillery to another, you have to drive 15, 20 minutes. No? And why is that? Why are they all too close in Tequila and the highlands all separate? The water source. No? You need a lot of water for production, for your fermentation, your distillation, and that's kind of the main reason in Tequila, that's where it all began. Yeah, so everybody right now in their glasses has Arette Blanco. Everybody got, this is the Arette Blanco Artesanal, Suave line. You can give it a little smell, taste it, sip. You'll see you'll be able to taste some green, herbal, peppery notes to it. And that's something very characteristic from the valley, from the tequila from the valley, from that mineral that you get from the volcanic. Volcanic. I mean, obviously the volcano has been inactive for many years, but you still get that minerality, from it's very very good soil there. And if we go to the next one, the agave has two ways it reproduces. It reproduces itself. It's one is with the hijuelos, the baby agaves, that start to grow on the sides of the agaves, and after 1 year, 1.5 years, you can take them out and replant them anywhere you want. No? And the other difference, the other way is with the quiote. The quiote, it grows like a flower in the middle, and it spreads some seeds, and and natural pollination, with bats, bees, or birds, and at night, coming from agave to agave, do natural pollination. But there's two things, Can we go back to the one really quick? If you let grow the quiote, it's going to take all the sugars and all the nutrients from your agave plant, so you no longer cannot use it for tequila anymore. So for the last over 100 years and so, all the farmers and all the producers have been cutting off the quiote. As soon as it starts to grow, with a machete, you go out and cut it off, because you don't want it to take all the sugars and all the nutrients for your tequila. So the only way the agave was left to reproduce is with the baby, the hijuelos, but that generates that it's going to be genetically the same to the mother plant. So if you do that over and over for the next 100 years, we run into the problem now where most of your agaves, the blue agaves, are now genetically the same. They're very, very similar. And what's the problem with that? Well, if we have a plague or a disease, it can wipe out through thousands of plants before we can figure out a way to stop it and solve it. And it's happened here in France with grapes. It's happened in Africa with bananas. And now the agave is it's at risk, no? So now we knock on wood, so it doesn't happen, no? So what are we doing? No, we're doing this kind of projects to start creating a stronger diversity in the agave plant, no? But obviously it's a project that's going to take many years, and we need everybody to be on board, no? A single brand, a single company cannot do the whole job for the industry, no? We have to get many brands involved, no? So can we go to the next? So, but once the agave is mature and finished, 7 to 8 years on average for the blue agave, we do the harvesting. It's all done by hand with a tool called coa. This is the jimador, the farmer who does the jima. If you've seen, they make it seem pretty easy, but it's not, no? They can do it like in 1 minute and a half, one agave. If you do it to me, I take like 5 minutes, no? It's for one agave. It's a tough job. No, so this is kind of a picture of our fields and the harvesting. Our family, we own all our agave fields. Over time, we've been planting our own agave. So now we are self-sustainable. No, we do not buy agave from anybody else. Sometimes we even sell agave to other producers as well. No? Once in the distillery, this is how they're coming from the field straight to our ovens. You see how they come out from the oven once it's been cooked. Now we have, can we go to the next one? We have two different styles of ovens. One is called the autoclave. That is this one on the left, and on the right we have the brick oven. No? So we have two different lines for Arette, which one line is produced cooked in the autoclave, one is produced in the brick. The difference is the temperatures and pressure. Brick cooks a little bit slower. So and then once it's being cooked, next step is your milling. You have to extract the juice, the agave juice. We call mosto, and that mosto will go to our fermentation. We have two styles of fermentation. On the left, we have the stainless steel fermentation, and on the right, the concrete fermentation. No? So it's just, again, as well, for different lines, the one that was cooked in autoclave will be fermented in the stainless steel. The one that will be cooked in the brick oven will be fermented only in the concrete. No? So it's to create two different lines. So this is just pictures of our fermentation process, different stages. Can we go one back? Oh, sorry. So differences in the concrete versus stainless steel. Temperature-wise, the fermentation works with the yeast. We have our own natural house yeast that we cultivate, and also as well is open fermentation. The distillery is next to open to the mountains, so there's always going to be wild yeast that's going to have an effect on it, whether we like it or not, as having open fermentation. Takes around 3 days fermentation in stainless steel. It takes 4 to 5 days on the concrete. It's a little bit slower. Why? Temperature, no? As the yeast is working to produce, converting the sugars into the alcohol, with the stainless steel, that heat that is concentrated, is kept there. But with the concrete absorbs, takes in that heat, and keeps the temperatures cooler. So if we can actually measure both tanks that were put on the same day, and you will see measure the temperatures 1 or 2 degrees differences from one to another, from concrete to stainless steel, and that 2 degrees, 1 or 2 degrees, is enough to make the yeast work slower, no? Because the warmer it is, the yeast will work, it's going to reproduce faster. Obviously not too hot or you kill it, no? It dies, the yeast. And sometimes in the summer, it can get, very hot, around 40 or 45 degrees. And if it gets really hot, then sometimes we even need to add some ice to cool it down. But that's only on when it gets really hot, no? We can go to the next one. So these are different stages of the fermentation. Once we're done with the fermentation, we will have around 5% alcohol, with the mosto, dead mosto. But you don't want to drink it. If you drink it, it's very heavy for the stomach, so you'll be going to the bathroom all day. So you can just a small sip and that's it. But that mosto muerto, the fermented juice, we're going to bring over to our distillation. And tequila, by law, has to be double distilled. In the first distillation, ordinario, we go from 5% to 25 ABV. And then we repeat and we do a second distillation. And in the second distillation, it now becomes a tequila. And in our distillery, our second distillation comes at around 50%, no? 50, 51, can vary, no? And that's obviously going to depend from distillery to distillery on the master distiller, how they want to do their cuts with the heads and the tails, no? And from here, we have our blanco. Blanco tequila is ready. If we want it to remain as a blanco, we can just go straight to the bottling. Everything in Arette, we do everything by hand, bottled and labeled by hand. Or if it's going to be aged, we send it to our barrel room. We use American oak bourbon barrels. This is a picture of this is my father over here, and this is my uncle Jaime, the two brothers. As I say, my father's more involved in the production. Jaime is more involved in the fields. He decides which agaves are going to be harvested for the next production. And all our barrels that we use is all American oak bourbon barrels. No? We don't use new barrels. And as you see, all our barrels have a seal. No? Well, the ones that are full have seals. This seal is not put by us. This is put by the CRT. CRT stands for Tequila Regulatory Council. It's a government agency that regulates the tequila production. And they're very, very strict. No? They come to your distillery every day. When you're in production, literally every day you have an inspector, sometimes for 30 minutes, sometimes for 1, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes all day. No? And they have the authority to check everything they want in the distillery, and they have the authority to shut you down. No? The distillery, if they see you doing something that is not out of the norm, not permitted. And our distillery has never been shut down, no? Thankfully. And if you want to open a barrel, even just to taste, to take a sample, an inspector has to be there. Because in tequila, it is not permitted, like the Solera system, we're not permitted to take half of the barrel out and then refill. Not with tequila. Tequila has to be the complete barrel. No? It's either all 1 year or all 2 years, but you cannot be refilling. Because if you do, let's say one barrel is, this is 6 months, and then this is 2 years, and you blend, it becomes a reposado. It becomes always the lowest one. At least for the one what you can put on your label, and you cannot sell it as an añejo, even though you blend it with a 2 or 3 year, it doesn't matter. Tequila doesn't allow the blending, or it just goes to the lowest one, no? And this is a picture from outside of our distillery, right in the town, no? And right across the street is where we have our tasting room. And we have a program we call it Casa del Cantinero, because we have a program where people from the industry, bartenders, if you're in the industry, we have a program where you can come down to Mexico and work in the distillery for 1 week. You work 1 day in the fields, and we do it together with other producers as well, Fortaleza and Don Fulano. So it's 3 tequila brands that we collaborate together. We're just friends, good friends. And you work at the 3 distilleries. And then at the end of the week, we give your certificate of tequila producer. No, it's a fun trip. If anybody wants information on it, I can tell you more, and I'll give you my email at the end. If we can go a little bit more. So, our tequila, why is our tequila named Arette? No? Where does the name come from? And Arette, the name, comes from a horse. The first gold medal that Mexico ever won in the Olympics, it was in horse jumping in London, 1948, and the name of the horse was Arette. No? So that's where our tequila was named after the champion Mexican horse. And the horse was not belong to our family. The horse belonged to the Mexican army. So the general who rode it, General Humberto Mariles, when he wanted to take Arette to the Olympics, Arette only had 1 eye, no? Era tuerto. So when he wanted to take Arette, the president of Mexico said, no, you cannot take the 1-eyed horse to the Olympics. He's going to embarrass Mexico. He said, pick a different horse. But the general took him anyway. And when the president found out, he was furious and sent an arrest warrant for the general. So when he was going to come back to Mexico, he was going to be arrested. But he ended up winning the Olympic and coming with gold medals. So the president of Mexico forgot about it. No, came back. There was a parade, and now they built a statue in Mexico City. If you go, there's a statue of the horse. No, it tells you the story of Arette and the general, and now he became a celebrity. No, unfortunately, the general a couple years later actually ended up dying here in Paris, in jail. He was caught smuggling cocaine from Mexico. So the general is buried here in Paris. That's kind of funny, no? So being a general in the 1950s, he could get on the plane and not being checked. There was no X-rays, and it was, at that time, there was much less security in the airports than we have now. So he was just bringing coke to Europe until he got checked here in Paris. And a couple days later, he was found hanged in his cell. People say there's 2 versions, no? He committed suicide. Also that the cartels in Mexico had him killed before he started talking, no? Because obviously he was not working alone, no? So that's why my family decided to name the tequila after the horse and not the general, Yeah. Now the leftovers of the agave. So what happens once you have the agaves? We grew for 7 years, and now for us having our land and our tequila and our fields, gives us control for every step of the process, no? So we control everything all the way from the agave plant to the end, no? To what happens at the bottle, no? So we grow everything organically. We do not add any chemicals or pesticides, no accelerants, no? So our tequila is as natural as you can get, no? We do not add any additives or colorants. So sometimes our batches, I think now everybody has the reposado. So if you go to the reposado, Sometimes you're going to see our bottles being a little bit more darker or lighter, and that's just because that's how it came from the barrel, no? Because the only way you can always be 100% consistency is if you're adding a little bit of caramel, to always have standard, no? But if you don't, then the barrel is going to act differently, no? It's at the end of the day. So this is just how it comes out. And but now, what happens to the leftover of the agave, the fibers, the bagazo? We turn them into compost, and it goes back into our fields as compost for the fields. And also, locals in the town of Tequila are asking for it, and they're making agave paper, ropes, shoes, baskets, and you can go into the town of Tequila and visit, and there's many stores that will sell many as souvenir, no? Souvenir for the leftovers of the bagazo, no? So it's cool that you see now many things coming out from the leftovers, no? And now we even have a label, an Arette special edition that we only sell at the distillery, that is made with the agave fiber paper, and so it's still very, very kind of expensive to make, because it's a very hard to work with. But but it's nice that it's working and it's getting more and more efficiently, no? Can we go now to the next one? Now, how do we drink tequila? So one of our biggest challenge that we have with tequila is in Europe, not globally, or outside of Mexico, in generally speaking. We have that problem in Europe, in Asia, in the United States, and is that tequila is only mostly drinking two ways, no? Tequila shots with lime and salt, to take your shot, or margarita, no? And that's it. For the 99% in the world, no, outside of Mexico, that's the only two ways, no? And unfortunately, the tequila has gained a bad reputation around the world about being something cheap and something that's, you take a shot, no, to get crazy and die the next day, no? You're gonna wake up with the worst hangover, and you're not gonna wanna drink tequila ever again in your life, no? And that's one of the biggest problems we have, no? People say, no, I cannot drink tequila. If I smell tequila, just the smell makes me want to throw up, and no. So we have to, work on people and explaining, not all tequila is the same, no? Just like whiskey, not all the same with rum. With tequila, not all tequila is the same. You have tequila mixtos, which is not 100% agave. Then you have your 100% agave. You have small batch, artisanal tequila. You have mass-produced, industrial tequila. So there's no comparison, no? So we work with people and say, hey, give it a second chance, try it. And they go, and okay, they smell it, and they take a little sip, with scared. And they say, oh, this doesn't taste like tequila. And we're like, no, this tastes like tequila, no? When you were drinking back in university, in school, in high school, that was a different story, no? So that's kind of like our biggest challenge, no? Having people give it a second chance, no? Because if you will find out in your bars or with your friends, everybody has drinking tequila probably at least once in their life, no? But not everybody likes it or has had a good experience with it, no? So that's kind of and now when people talk about tequila, and nowadays they'll say, okay, tequila is the past, now comes in mezcal, no? Mezcal is the new cool kid, no? In the block, no? So wait, but you gotta talk, you're talking about tequila as a general, no? Because if you still look at the numbers between tequila, mixto, and 100% agave tequila, it's a big difference. 100% agave tequila in the market, and here in Europe or in France is still a very, very, very minority compared to tequila, the mixtos, no? No? So it's also coming from a very, very small base, no? And not just here in France, but in Europe and many in Asia as well. So that's kind of a big challenge, to introduce this culture of people to learn about the differences and 100% agave versus mixtos and give it a second chance, no? And then as well, to play more with it, no? To give it to not just make tequila, okay, like they like tequila now, and they only stick with the margarita, no? But there's so many different really amazing cocktails that you see around the world, no? The Paloma is just an example. That's the most common one you would see in people drinking it in Mexico. Or can we go to the next one? Also, El Diablo with cassis liqueur, and blanco tequila and a little bit of ginger beer makes a great drink. El Diablo, the Espresso Martini, with coffee liqueur and a little bit of agave nectar with the reposado goes amazing, no? And then the old Mexican, with the añejo, with a little bit of Angostura bitters and Ancho Reyes liqueur, plays beautifully. Now it's helping me pass around the añejo. So I mean, we always tell bartenders and talk about play around with tequila, create your own cocktails with it, no? Or some classics, try use of tequila in them and see how with some of them it works, with some of it might not. But there's so much out there, that can be done. And so we always kind of like want to challenge the bartenders to go more and do something different than just a margarita, no? Obviously, the margarita is going to be your easiest selling because everybody knows margaritas, and in the summer, the perfect cocktail for in a patio. But there's so many amazing different cocktails that we like seeing out there, no? And now, as you see, we have, these are 2 different lines that we have. Over here in the top is what we call the classic, Arette Classics. And on the bottom, the artisanal suave lines, no? So just a little recap on what we just saw. Classics is cooked in the autoclave. This will be cooked in the brick oven, fermented in stainless steel versus fermented in the concrete. And the cuts we do in distillation. This is the heart of the distillation, no? A small batch, no? So this is kind of a smaller batch of Arette, no? But they're both Arette, no? In France, right now, at the moment, you cannot find Arette, but hopefully that will change pretty soon. No? We want to bring back Arette to France. No? Right now, we're selling in 36 countries, but France is not one of them, unfortunately, but hopefully it will change soon. Our biggest market right now is the United States. No? They drink a lot of margaritas. But we're trying to maybe have that changed in the short term. No? Yeah, so kind of or distinctions of like what is Arette, what makes Arette different, to the other tequilas or the industry. Well, it's I don't know if I forgot to mention our distillery is the 3rd oldest distillery in the town, right after Cuervo, which is the oldest, and then Sausa. Our distillery, our family distillery is the oldest one now. And it's been independent, family owned for 5 generations. And now we're the oldest family, to remain 100% family owned, independent, no? Because unfortunately, a lot of the brands, Mexican brands, have sold now. No, they're not produced. They're owned by Diageo, Pernod Ricard, Suntory. Just an example. No, there's very very few old brands that have remained just 100% family owned. No, and so we're very proud to always have that kind of that distinction. No, to go like that. And so it's estate grown. So we do everything from farm to the bottle. That is controlled for every step. 100% agave tequila. We don't make any mixtos out of distillery. In our distillery, in Arette, we do not make tequila for anybody else. Because right now, there's more than 2,000 brands of tequila out there in the market and only 80 distilleries of tequila. So you're talking that 2,000 brands are coming from 80 distilleries of tequila, no? And for example, in our distillery, we don't even make any other brand anymore, no? We're just Arette now. So you have some distilleries that make 100, 200 different tequilas in one distillery, no? What is the difference? Well, when you have 200 brands out of one distillery, I don't think there's so many differences. There's 200 differences you can come out of one. So a lot of times it's the same juice, just different bottle, different label, no? A different price, different marketing. No? So yeah. So can we go to the next one? So yeah, this is kind of this is just my if anybody wants to be in contact, this is my email at the end, or add me on Facebook, whatever's easiest for you. If you come to Mexico and you want to visit the distillery, you can just reach out and send me an email or an inbox or however you like, and we will always like to have you guys. Our distillery is not open to the general public, but it is open for the industry. No, we are open for the industry. Because the reason is because for the most part, tequila is very, very, very touristy. A lot of people are coming, but many people just want to party, drink, and so we don't want people just drunk or running around our distillery. And so I mean, if you want to, if it's serious and you want to learn and really understand, yes, it is open. It is open to come and visit, but you have to make an appointment. No, you have to let us know, and we'll be happy to have you. No, but just don't show up and because then we probably might be saying no. But sorry. But if you send an email before, yes, not time, and we'll be there. And if I'm there in Mexico, I'll be there in the distillery and give you the tour. But something also that I want to talk now is that that. In the past, we would be able to say, can we go a little bit back? Yeah, stay there before we talk about that. In the past, we were able to say that you should look for in the bottle that says 100% agave tequila, and that you will be safe. No, you will be good. So we said, I just drink 100% agave, and you're good. No, and like before 2001, before 2002, that was the case. No, it was true. But then came what's called a diffuser. I don't know if many of you have heard of the diffuser or know what's a diffuser. Anybody here knows what the diffuser is? Okay. Well, okay. So I will explain a little bit about it. Let me see if I'm drinking my time. Like I don't want to overpass, but I think we're good on time. And so the diffuser is this kind of mass-produced industrial way to produce tequila. And if nobody has seen it before, this is a picture. This is picture one diffuser, and then if you go to the next one, you can just look at the size. No, you can see the people, and just it's a mass producer. No? So this overcomes everything that you just saw. No, and we go to the next one. So this everything that I just showed you, this kind of replaces everything. No, the cooking, everything. This is kind of the way you mass produce. No? For example, for us in our distillery, it takes us 6 to 7 days to go from the plant, from the agave, to the blanco, to the blanco tequila. Just 6 days. And we can make 10,000 liters in 1 week. With this machine, you make 100,000 liters in 24 hours. And you go from agave to tequila in 24 hours, no? So it's just kind of crazy the amount of the volume that you can mass produce, no? So now this comes along and can make 100% agave tequila with a diffuser. I need 8 kilos of agave to make 1 liter of tequila. This machine needs half of it. With 4 kilos, makes 1 liter. No? So obviously you're bringing your costs way down and your efficiency way high. Now at the end of the day, you column distilling at 95 ABV, no? And then you're just watering it down all the way to 38 or 40, where I'm distilling at 50 and just bringing it down to 40 or 38. So the amount of water you're using is just the half of agave you're using. At the end of the day, the price that you're going to see those bottles obviously are going to be half or less than half of the price than the tequila that is not diffuser, no? So obviously it's impossible to compete with a tequila that is made with the diffuser, no? So a lot of times when we go to bars and, okay, we love it, they taste it, they love it. What is the price? You tell them the price and they're like, but I get this tequila for half of the price. And yeah, but then they use half of the agave. You have half of the agave in there, no? And I mean, right now, the agave, I don't know if you've heard, but it's in one of the worst crises of agave in the industry, in the history of tequila. The shortage is crazy, no? Because again, it takes so long, 7 to 8 years for the cycle of agave, that there's been years when there's overplanted, too much agave, and then there's some years where it's too much and it's worth nothing, so nobody wants to plant. Then 6, 7 years later, there's a shortage, prices go through the roof, no? And we've been robbed, no? We've been robbed already 3 times in the last year, that we just get a call in the morning, a piece of your field is gone. They go at night, do the harvesting with a pickup truck, and take it, no? So yeah, so it's crazy, no? So now we have to add security, no? A guy in a motorcycle and a radio and so yeah, and a gun, huh? You see. So it's sad, no? It's sad to be so that price in price increase, no? So obviously, if you look at numbers, the diffuser is kind of like what makes the most sense. But at the end, you have to decide, what do you want? Quality or quantity, you know? You cannot have both, unfortunately, in this world, no? And so now we also talk about the diffuser as you don't only have to look for 100% agave tequila now. You also have to look for is it diffuser or not diffuser. And I'm not saying, okay, if it's right or wrong, it's up to you. If you like it or not like it, it's up to you. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying you should know. Because if you're getting at that price, well, you have to know why you're getting at that price, no? It's not just because, somebody's want to make some more money or so, no? It's just because the way of production is completely different, no? You cannot compare tequila.
The final test between diffuser and traditional form, it is different on the final
The taste, yes, completely. Yeah, the production taste is completely different. Yeah, yeah, and you can actually, I mean, there's a lot of products out there that you can actually compare side by side, and it's a big difference. No? I mean, right now there's like 7 or 8 diffusers out there in the industry. I mean, obviously I don't want to say the names, but you can all guess. No, you can all guess which ones have it. I'm not gonna say, but you can go online and Google it. The information is out there, no? And so yeah, I don't want to be like, hey, this guy, no? But does anybody have any questions? Yes.
And how do you differentiate the diffuser and the real?
Well, there's one way. No, one way is trust your instincts. Don't just palate. No, you have to know. Educate yourself with tequilas that are made. Do some tastings, blind tasting products with your colleagues, with your friends, and talk about it and to learn and educate your palate, so you can then later on know without they don't even have to tell you, because obviously some brands are going to deny it. So some brands are going to lie to it and say, oh no, we don't use it, or we just use it for this brand but not this one. And how can you know? It's impossible unless you trust your own palate, not your own taste. No? So that's the one. And then the second one, well, you can do the research online and it will show you the distilleries that have it. No? I mean, it's not a secret. It's all in the website, and you can see which distilleries have them. No? And obviously, then, but the most important thing is to trust your instincts, because some distilleries might not have a diffuser on site on the distillery, but they can buy from other distilleries, and then bring it to the distilleries and bottle it in their bottle, and you would not know. No? And for us, I mean, that is that should not be allowed, no? I mean, if you say in your label, your brand, it should become something that you made, no? And if it's coming from another distillery, well, you should say it, no? But the industry doesn't force you to do that, so obviously nobody does it, no? And again, it doesn't. There is no this official distinction for like non-diffuser tequilas or tequila we made with diffuser, which for us, when the CRT, when the government allowed the diffuser to be into place, for us, no, it was kind of we were very angry about it. No, we were like, how can the government allows this? No, this is destroying all the tradition and the heritage of tequila. This should not be permitted. But you know, at the end of the day, the big guys have it with the money, and money plays. You know, and they allowed it. No, but yeah. So it's just that, no, education and learning about it, no, and that's kind of the easiest answer I could give you to know which one about, no. Any other questions?
Which is the difference between agave and maguey, or is it the same thing?
Agave and maguey is all the same. It can all be the same thing, no? Maguey was kind of like the way it was referred to in the past, to the agave plant, no? Even to date, my grandfather still calls it maguey, no? He doesn't call it mezcal. So if I go with my grandfather, he will go to the field, say, look at the maguey, this maguey is ready. Maguey, I'm like, it's an agave. He's like, same thing, no? So it's the same thing, agave, maguey, and mezcal, and also mezcal. The word mezcal, they also refer to as a plant mezcal, no? So that's why I was saying everything is a mezcal, no? It's just coming from the old category of, even tequila was even called the mezcal back in the days, no? If you find some really old bottles of tequila, it was called vino de mezcal, no? Wine mezcal. Then it eventually changed the name, and they said, let's call it as the name of the town, and the name of the town was called Tequila. Because the word mezcal means cooked agave, whereas the word tequila is land of working people, which has nothing to do with tequila or mezcal, no? But I just wanted to name it as a town. So everybody knows that the tequila is the spirit, the one we drink, but not many people know that there's actually a town, a city called Tequila, and that's where it all began, no?
And I know you explained it at the beginning, but it's not clear for me which is the difference between mezcal and tequila.
Well, first of all, the regions where it's produced, it is not made in the same parts of Mexico. No, Mexico is a very, very large country, and where you produce tequila, it's not in the same area where you produce mezcal, so that's the first difference. Second, the type of agave that you use. Tequila only uses one type of agave. With mezcal, it's open, the variation is wider, way much better. I mean, there's more than 200 different variation and species of agave. I mean, I don't even know the name of all of them, no? This is, Thank you. Yeah, so I don't even know the name of all of them, no? But the Tobalate, Pestate, Espadín, Chato, Quiche. But so that's kind of and also now the way of production, it's kind of, they're both cooked, they're both fermented, they're both distilled, but obviously the way they're cooked, the way they're fermented, the way they're distilled is going to change. And also at the end, that will change your taste, no? Your profile, no? But it's like saying all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon, no? It's just, bourbon is a type of whiskey, no?
Thanks.
You wanna?
There's a law protecting the origins of tequila.
Sorry?
If there's a law
Yes.
protecting the origins of tequila,
Yes.
it has to be really Jalisco.
Yeah, yes. No, Jalisco and 5 other states. Jalisco and 4 other states. It's 5 in total. But Jalisco is. Can we go a little bit up? I'll show you one more. Here. So Jalisco is the major one, no? But you have Nayarit, Michoacán, Guanajuato, and Tamaulipas. But Jalisco is the only state that it can be made in the entire state, everywhere in Jalisco. The other 4 states, just certain towns, not all of them, no? Not all of them, yeah. But 90, like as I say, like 90% really comes from Jalisco. In Michoacán, I think I only know like 1, Nayarit, 1 or 2, Guanajuato, or here there's Coralejo, that's mainly in Guanajuato. Tamaulipas, there's also like 1 producer, and most of them are small producers, no? There isn't one really a bigger one outside of Jalisco. And where mezcal has the 9 states, which most of them, everybody knows, kind of like associates mezcal with Oaxaca, but Oaxaca is not the only state, no? There's more states, Durango, Guerrero, Guanajuato, Michoacán, yeah. But obviously, yeah.
Eduardo, can you explain us in what consists the so-called process of mezcalization of the tequila industry?
What do you mean?
The cooking, your new project of brick oven.
So, yeah, so there's, for example, mezcal is traditionally or mostly cooked underground, right? They make underground ovens and cooked. With tequila, Obviously, if you go back hundreds of years ago, it was made the same, but then it evolved from that into the brick oven, to the mamposteria ovens, and then from there it went to the autoclave, and then from the autoclave, now it went to the diffuser. It's kind of like the last step where the industry, as a globally speaking, this is not talking about Arette, this is talking about the industry, whereas mezcal is still remain. Now there's a diffuser for mezcal. If you go to Oaxaca, there is one diffuser now in Oaxaca that is making mezcal with diffuser, and also there's a couple mezcals that are also made the way we make now tequila with autoclave roller mills. So and you can compare them. You can talking about with mezcals with other mezcals that are made with like both espadín but in different ways. Tastes completely different. Which one's better? Well, that's going to be up to you to decide. So I'm not going to say, oh, this one's better. Well, it can change. Every person is going to have different opinion, and they might all be right. It's just about having the information out there, and making your own personal opinions on which one's better or which one's right, Now people say in Mexico, well, so what do you drink more? So what is? And as we say, it really depends, If it depends, like what's the occasion? Like if you're going out to bars and you're going to stay, for a long night or be into a party, you might want to stay with the blanco or reposado. But some people, really like the añejos or extra añejos, like an after dinner or after taste to have one or two. So it really depends on the occasion, But at the end, now people say, hey, is an añejo better than a blanco because it's more expensive? Well, yeah, obviously an añejo or an extra añejo is going to be more expensive, but not because it's better, just because it sat on the barrel for 3, 4, 5 years or however the time it sat there, That's why the price is higher, But at the end, it all started from a blanco, And you have a good blanco, you will have a good reposado and a good añejo. Yeah. Any more questions? No. Yeah?
What do the bourbon barrels you use? Do you buy
Bourbon barrels? We buy them from 2 different companies. We use them from Brown-Forman, Jack Daniels and Woodford barrels, and Four Roses barrels as well. Those are the 2 barrels that we are using now. Yeah. But I appreciate everybody for coming. I think our time is up. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys soon in Mexico. Please visit us, come down, and
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great.
Salud.
Bon merci beaucoup Eduardo, c'était super. On vous attend à 17h pour la conférence suivante avec Niki Nakasawa qui va nous parler sur les producteurs de Miahuatlán, le Oaxaca. Donc on fait une petite pause de 10 minutes et on reprend à 17h.
Muchas gracias.
Merci beaucoup.